I was recently asked about should you train through the pain? So, to what degree of pain is normal as we exercise? And by exercise, we must be general here, so encompassing everything from yoga to weightlifting to running. But there is a difference between what is an ache or soreness that you will experience in normal exercises and use versus what actually is a pain. That can signify that something is wrong, something's gone wrong. Because everyone's relationship to pain and soreness is individual, which includes pain tolerance as well. Now, in the early days of training, those starting may need to develop their interpretation, their intrapersonal reflection, and their own awareness to their bodies and understand what their body is telling them in regards to the pain versus soreness, which may mean they need asking advice from professionals such as a personal trainer, a coach, a physio, or a doctor. Now, for some people, they can feel that everything just hurts more than it did maybe 10 years ago. But what does the science actually tell us about the pain and the level of pain as we exercise and grow older? And to what degree is this normal? Well, welcome to growing older is first thing. I'd love to tell you that it gets easier, though that would be a lie. The reality is as we age, we get stiffer quicker due to stiffening of joints and ligaments, and it takes longer for us to recover from activities, including training and exercise. And there's the risk of the old adage though, if you don't, you use it or you lose it, right? And if not training, then there can be an increase in muscle loss over time as well. Now, all these things can make it feel like we just ache more as we age, and this can make us feel more fatigued as well, for longer as well. So what's the difference between good and bad pain? So for example, DOMS and the burn and other things that people call as the normal parts of exercise versus when it's too much. And how can you tell the difference? And is it down to intensity or duration, or what other ways can pain actually affect us? So aches and sorenesses are caused by being used, and they're generally regarded as a good feeling. Not that it feels good, okay? And this is the crazy thing, because you can end up chasing this feeling because you see the benefits as you impose those demands on your body, making it adapt to become better the next time you work out. Now, no, I'm not using the word pain for this feeling, because pain many people describe as being sharp, acute sensation that can, if strong enough, prevent you from pursuing the activity that you're doing. And it's our body's way of alerting us that something is wrong and it needs your attention. Now, as mentioned earlier, you need to develop that intrapersonal reflection and awareness to really understand what's going on inside your body, so that you understand when your body is telling you with regards to pain, whether this is something that's pain or versus soreness, which may mean that you have to ask for that advice, from the professionals, the personal trainers, coaches, physios, doctors, etc., because this is the safest option when you're starting. Now, when you've learned more about your body and what your body is telling you, then you can start to distinguish between the different types of pain and understand that you might be able to stretch it out or just gently work out some of those, versus when you need to take the usual kind of RICE approach, rest, ice, compression and elevation, and versus what actually needs professional attention to get things sorted. Though whenever in doubt, always seek professional advice. Now, here's a couple of my own personal examples. You see, I woke up in April 2024 with a crick in the neck. It just felt stiff and sore, and I couldn't move my head. So I sought out on a physio appointment to work it through, to not impact my training though. I went to the earliest appointment, which is still a week away. So I thought, okay, well, it's a week away. I think it's just a crick in the neck. So I'll continue doing my resistance training, just with lighter weights. The pain started to get worse. It started to radiate down my right arm, and it led to numbness in my thumb and fingers. The result was I'd aggravated a trapped ulnar nerve, which made the situation worse, and it took over 4 months with specific exercises from a physio to recover, with no resistance training during that period. Also, while performing my marathon distance training, running in February this year, 2025, I slid in the mud, falling on my right knee and twisting my left knee and ankle, and it was agony to put weight on it at first. Though talking it through with my coach at the time, we believed that if I tried to stretch and walk it out, it would recover, which after 2 kilometers of walking resulted in the pain diminishing and regaining movement. If I had had this just by myself, I would have probably just stopped, take the rest then, and seeking professional advice. However, as my coach was there and he'd seen this many times before, they knew exactly what to do. So at what point should you stop when your pain reaches, they could be at like a 3 out of 10, or what are the implications if you continue? So as we said before, pain is personal. If you don't know what the pain is though, then stop and seek advice rather than continue, because continuing can cause further damage to what you've already done. As you learn more about your body and the various different niggles and aches and sorenesses and clicks and pops and other noises and feelings it creates, you can then start to make an informed judgment based on your previous experience and knowledge to make a decision of what action to take when you want to go forwards. Now, some people say, is there a place for kind of toughing it out, and can this be useful, or when is it actually detrimental? And is there any science that mental toughness can overcome physical pain? And also, is cold exposure something worth mentioning here? So with aches and soreness, yes, there is a place for toughing it out as it happens, because that's where the adaptation actually happens inside your body. For example, if you've never run 10 kilometers before, then 10 kilometers can be tiring. It can make you feel fatigued, achy and sore. Plus, there have been studies that show that elite athletes have a higher tolerance to pain, which is linked to their mental toughness. Now, there are many athletes, coaches and practitioners that use cold water therapy, including cold showers, ice baths, to help reduce muscle soreness and inflammation, though it's still a debated subject when it comes down to the studies that are being performed. There is evidence that shows cold exposure can increase musculoskeletal conditions, potentially increasing pain. So again, choice is yours as to which way you'd like to go. When should you seek professional help? So if you're in pain for a week, after one session, a month, etc., and is this like a PT, physio and doctor and things? Now, as I mentioned above, if it's pain, then if you don't know what it is and you don't know what's causing it, and you want to seek out professional help, because you want to find out what it is that's causing this issue. Now, that advice can be from like personal trainers, coaches, physios, doctors. Just if you have any doubt, just check it out, right? And finally, last question I got asked was, what is your advice for persistent muscle pain? So for example, maybe things like, is it anti-inflammatory gels? Is it things like more sleep, saunas, recovery guns, massages, gentle stretches, etc.? Because there's loads of kind of things being thrown around on the internet as just being general advice. So from my point of view, for muscle soreness, get adequate sleep to allow your body to recover and give it the maximum chance of recovery is always advisable. It's like the number one piece of advice for anything. Get enough sleep, get enough recovery. Same with using saunas to ease muscles and allow them to relax. It's a great way of being able to get those muscles into a place where you actually want them after giving them a real good workout. Gentle stretching or yoga can also have a great positive impact on your mental well-being, as well as prevent some of that soreness as well by working through those muscles. Now, do check with a massage therapist or physio with regards to massage and the use of things like recovery guns on the different types of sorenesses and locations, because sometimes a massage can further aggravate the problem rather than alleviate it. Now, I'm not a doctor, so do seek advice from a doctor or pharmacist when it comes down to using anti-inflammatory gels, pills, etc. But generally, anti-inflammatory gels and pills should only be used 72 hours after it's actually happened, because the inflammation that happens in your body is part of the healing process. So you don't want to stop that from happening. So hopefully you'll find some of this useful or interesting, and as always, if this topic has been of interest to you or you'd like to learn a little bit more, then please reach out to us at hello@sharpfitforlife.com. We'd love to be able to help you further and be able to have a great conversation around how you can fit your life back into your life. All right, have fun. Bye bye for now.